Today we are going to talk about the story A Mild Attack of Locusts by Dorris Lessing. Now as we look at the title, there is one word, locust, in it, which is the name of an insect. These insects, they attack a crop or a farmland in swarms. And an interesting thing about the author, Dorris Lessing, is that she is a Nobel laureate. That is, she was awarded the Nobel Prize for producing the highest kind of literature. She was born in 1999 and she passed away in 2013. She was a British novelist, poet, playwright, biographer, and a short story writer. She mostly discussed these particular themes in her story, that is the social issues, Sufism, psychological problems, and as I've told you that in 2007 she was awarded a Nobel Prize in Literature as she has produced stories of the highest kind for the audience all over the world. This particular story, A Mild Attack of Locusts, it was published in 1955 and it was included in the short story collection by the author called African Stories. Now this particular story, it has a setting that it is set on a maize farm in North Africa. Please remember that the place where the story is set, there the food products, they are not very abundant. These particular insects, locusts, they live in hot countries and they attack the green farms and crops in swamps. They fly in huge numbers and they destroy all the plants and all the crops of that particular area where they are attacking. They leave a total devastation scene when they go away. The writer calls it a mild attack as the main swarm of these locusts, it was not settling. The farmers in the story, they knew that maximum or minimal damage has been done and they will have to replant the crops again. This attack is a natural calamity and human beings, they are helpless in front of it and they cannot save their crops. And for the agriculturists, this is a major calamity. The farmers did their best to save their crops from the attack of these locusts. They burnt huge fires to drift up thick clouds of smoke and made loud noises to distract these insects, but they were unsuccessful. Their attempts failed, and these insects, they ate every single blade of crops. The farmers, they were calm. They did not take this thing to their heart because they believed that it's a natural calamity and we are helpless in front of it. They endured what they were unable to cure. There are certain conflicts, like every short story, there are two conflicts. The first one is the fight or the conflict between man and nature, and the second one is in the heart or is in the inside of one of the characters, Margaret. This story, it has many layers and it is more than this natural devastation. There is a robust and prevalent undercurrent in the story which is portrayed through these locusts. They stand as a metaphor for the power of nature which a man cannot overcome. What happens, the author is asking in this story, when people are forced to face this power? We will now look at the summary of the story, A Mild Attack of Locusts. It is an informative story which is telling us a true and a realistic description of the attack of these insects, locusts, and it is a true picture that how a natural calamity destroys the hard work of human beings. A man is helpless in front of these natural calamities. He can do nothing to overcome them. He has to face them. But a man must not lose heart and keep on doing what he can to avert these natural calamities. These locusts, they attacked a vast area, and the people living in that area, they became helpless. When people observed them attacking and coming from the sky, they started making a loud noise to tell the others about it or to inform the others about it. Margaret, who is one of the characters of the story, is the landlady, and she was helping others in warning people. The people started ringing gongs as a kind of a warning. All the people, and Stephen and Richard, they gathered at one place and they started giving instructions how to fight this calamity. They burnt green leaves and branches to produce dense and thick smoke. This was considered as one of the best methods to stop the locusts from staying and settling there. Smoke engulfed the whole area. The sky was not visible because of two things: smoke and the swarm of these locusts, which were covering everything. Darkness was everywhere. They were not only flying in air, they were settling down on the branches of the trees, on plants, bushes, buildings, and on the earth. Like everywhere, there was a carpet of locusts. The trees and their branches, they were so much covered with these insects that the branches were breaking down because of their load. And these locusts, they were eating away the plants and they were sticking there. Margaret was very depressed. She asked old Stephen that as these locusts, they are eaten everything, they are not going away, so why we are trying to make them fly away again? Stephen told her that these locusts, they are heavy with eggs and they are ready to breed, and if they are not made to fly away, they will leave their eggs over there and this calamity will stick here. They will stay here in the form of newly born locusts. She knew that after this calamity, people have to replant everything. One thing was troublesome, that these locusts, even if they are driven away, they might come again. All the people living in that area, they were fighting hard against these locusts. And after, when these went away, they were ready to start their life again, as there was no other option. We are going to look at the different characters of the story, A Mild Attack of Locusts. There are many characters shown, but we are going to talk about the three major ones. The first one is Margaret. Margaret is the owner of the farms in the area where these insects have attacked. She is married to Richard, but the strange thing is that she has never seen these locusts in her life before. She becomes upset when she sees the swarm of locusts attacking the farm, and she has very deep concern over this situation. She is anxious to help the people, but she cannot find any means. She is inquisitive about the noise that is being created even after the destruction. She does not lose her heart and informs others as she wants to help people in this crisis. She is shown as a sympathetic person, and she is shocked to know at the losses of the other people. She, like others, does not lose heart on the loss of her crops, and like others, she also believes that it is a natural calamity and it cannot be avoided. She supports Richard and Stephen by providing drinks and foods, but she cannot and she does not directly make any effort to save the farm. Margaret is not much more effective in ridding her farm of the locusts than are the plants. She depends on the men around her to do this job. In many ways, Margaret exists merely as a witness to her own life. She does have strength, though, and it is presented in her ability to see the beauty around her after this devastation. She is impressed and she is awed by the masses of insects which she sees flying away after this devastation. Her character, it is representing the strength of human spirit. Margaret will not let devastation completely destroy her or completely upset her. Unlike Stephen, she is not committed to farming, and her flexibility, it is defined by her willingness to move and to adjust to a new way of life. Richard, the second character, he is Margaret's husband. He is the least present one in the story because most of the times when the story is taking place, he is in the fields fighting off the locusts. He provides a positive element to this story as he tempers his father's more pessimistic attitudes. Stephen, the third character, he is Margaret's father-in-law. He has seen many storms like this and the damage that is caused by them. When Stephen he is talking to Margaret, he shows a very gloomy outlook to the future. He tells Margaret that he does not have much hope in the farm surviving after this attack. And Stephen, he is sharing his love of land despite the calamity which are a common thing in an African environment. Sometimes he comes back to the house to satisfy his thirst and to fill cans for the laborers, but he is demonstrating his fascination with the nature. We are going to look at some of the themes and moral lessons of the story. A theme is something which is running throughout the story. The first theme is never to lose hope and never give up. Stay in your bounds, but try to fight the calamities that come in your life. And the problems in a farmer's life and his hardships, it is another theme. The author again discusses what a woman's role should be in such condition, what has Margaret done, what is Margaret's understanding, and how she has adapted to a totally new environment, how she is handling this kind of situation. Lessons is showing the farm life that it is a constant battle against nature. But these battles, they are fought in the knowledge that there is no respite, and even if there is, it is only temporary. This attack reveals about the character's relationship with nature. Even though these locusts, they have eaten everything, the men who are working there, they are still trying to drive these away so that these locusts, they may not leave their eggs over there. When the story was published, there were many former colonies who were being given or they were taking independence by force, and the former colonists, they seemed somewhat overwhelmed by the force of history. Similarly, like they seem overwhelmed by the force of nature over here. This is one of the strongest themes running in the story. The farmers, they are shown by saving their crops. They can produce dense smoke by burning green leaves, and they can make a loud noise by beating things up, and they can spray insecticides, and they can also cooperate with the government to take measures against this natural calamity.